Today, my dear 5th class students, I have the opportunity to teach you another lesson in social studies. This is lesson number 2. The title is Our Gides, which are globes and maps. In the last video presentation, we talked about the solar system, all the elements in the solar system. We also talked about their relative positions, their sizes, and we talked about rotation, revolution, and the eclipses, solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. They are all covered in the first lesson. In this lesson, we are going to talk about globes and maps. Now, in the last lesson, we realized that Earth is in the shape of a globe. So that's why all the Earth, all the surface of land, water bodies, all these are they can be represented on a globe. Globe is a three-dimensional object, just like your tennis ball. Now, to read that, in addition to that, let me try my speaker a little bit in a different position. Well, we had a technical difficulty, but let us continue even without microphone. Earlier I tried with the microphone. Let us see how best it comes. Now, like usual, we already made about 45 videos. Some of them are loaded, many of them are loaded, and I want the students to look at the videos and offer your comments, and also ask any questions you may have. Also, 2 days back, all the booklets and the lesson materials, they are all sent to you. You must have received them. If you have not received, call us immediately. So, you have the booklet containing the lessons, you have the exercises, now you have the video class. Now you are all set to go. And one thing is, you talk to your parents, get the books as quickly as possible. Now, as you know, the reading philosophy, particularly for all the students in Srijana, each student has to read the lesson 7 times with understanding. I told this several times, so I don't want to waste much of your time and my time. So let me go to the actual textbook reading. Okay, this has a lot of information, a lot of new words, and they are not difficult. The only thing is you have to get used to them. Now, there are some words here, the cartography, atlas, directions, and legend. Cartography is making the maps in a scientific manner, following some definite procedures, some techniques. That art itself is called cartography. Then we have atlas. You know what atlas is. Number of maps. Put it in a book. That book is called atlas. And then you already know all the 4 main directions. North, south, east, west. There are the 4 main directions. And also the north is always represented on the top of the page. If you take 8/11 A4 sheet, on the top you have north, at the bottom it is south. To your right hand side you have east, and on the left hand side you have west. And in between north and east you have northeast. Similarly, like that, you have four other sub directions. So total you have 4 main directions and 4 sub directions. So a total of 8. So now you understand. And then we have a legend and a map. When you want to call it as a sea, you want to show a hotel, you want to say a hospital, you want to show a post office, there is several symbols. Similarly, if you want to show a Pacha road, a railway track, like an airplane route, all these have some symbols. Those symbols, you call it as a legend. Okay? So we will read all these things. We will know about all these things while reading the lesson. Now I have given you the enough introduction. Now I want you to take your textbook. If you don't have the textbook, the material that we already sent you, take it. And now let me read this, and I want you to follow while I am reading. While I am reading, I want you to follow with your finger on the textbook. Now, when you have any doubt, watch the video one more time. If you still have a doubt, you know what to do, right? You have to write on a piece of paper, put the page number, put the line there. Sir, what does this mean? I don't understand. Write that and send it by WhatsApp, and we will respond to you very, very, very quickly. We know we don't want our students wait for an answer from the school. Srujana is committed to high level of education, high level of sincerity and regularity. So don't worry about it. You have a question, just send it by WhatsApp, and we will take care of it. Okay? Without much delay, now let me read the lesson. There are several, actually 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 5 pages. I will read it. It's not difficult. So watch how I am reading the lesson, and simultaneously, wherever it is needed, I will give you the explanation. So look at page number 5. You see the page number 5 here. You see the world map split into 2 halves, and then you also see a globe with several lines here, like that. Okay. Now let us see lesson number 2. Our guides. Who are our guides to understand the universe? The first is the globe and the maps. Now we have already learned that the earth is spherical in shape in the last lesson. It comprises of 71% of water and 29% land. You can see here, I brought a model of the earth. You can see in the next lesson or this model will help you to understand how the days and nights are formed. This is the globe. You can see here all the land as well as the water is already represented on this globe. This is called a globe. Globe is a model of earth. This shows all the continents. There are 7 continents, water, land, all the things. There are big cities names, continents names, and all that. They are shown here. And also in this model, you will get to see how the days and nights are formed because of the rotation of the earth. Okay? Now, let me move on. So, see the whole earth is made of 71% water and 29% land. There are 2 things by which we can study about the earth. There are 2 things by which we can study the earth. One is the globe. The other one is the map. That's what is here. The globe and the map. The globe. The globe is a small model of the earth. You can see I have shown you small model of the earth. The pole point at the top is known as the North Pole, and the pole point at the bottom is called the South Pole. We have the imaginary horizontal and vertical lines on the globe. Here we have only horizontal lines here. There is another graph here on this page. You can see the vertical lines also. These are the horizontal lines. We have the imaginary horizontal and vertical lines on the globe. They are called latitudes and longitudes. We learnt about this in the last lesson also. Latitude and longitude. How to remember longitude and latitude. In latitude, the second letter is A. So, it is from east to west. In the cases of longitude, the second letter is O. North to south. North to south lines are called longitudes. East to west is called they are called latitudes. So we have the imaginary horizontal vertical lines on the globe. They are called latitude and longitude. By the help of them, we can locate the places and determine the time. We can locate the places and also determine the time. So many times when I get a call from United States, you guys ask me, sir, what time is it in United States? I tell you what it is. Here, if it is daytime here, it is night time in United States. So you learn that a little bit more in detail later on. Now, latitude, the circles that go around the earth parallel to the equator are called the latitude. There is an equator, that is a 0 degree line, and parallel to that, the horizontal lines going from east to west, they are called the latitude. The circles that go around the earth parallel to the equator are called the latitudes. If we proceed towards from north to the south pole on the straight line, we shall cover 1/4 of the circle only. From what we will cover only 1/4 of the circle. Therefore, there are 90 latitudes towards the north pole and 90 latitude towards the south pole. The total number of latitudes is 180. So from the equator, you have 90 to the north and 90 to the south. Equator. The equator is a 0 degree imaginary line. There is nothing like a latitude, longitude. You don't see a lines, but these are all made to understand, to locate a place and also determine the time. That's what is meant for here. That's what is all these latitudes and longitudes. If you go into some place and I want to see the latitude, no, you cannot see that. These are imaginary lines. Now, equator, the 0 degree imaginary line which goes around the earth exactly in the halfway from both the poles is called the equator. Both the poles. One pole is at the north and one is at the south. Equidistant from central point. That is called the equator. The equator divides earth into two equal halves. 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 H-A-L-V-E-S. Half and second together. Now, that is the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere. The longest latitude is 0 degree latitude. Just like in a circle, what is the longest chord? Is the diameter. Similarly here, the equator is the longest one. Now, important latitudes. 0 degrees latitude is the equator. That's what we talked about. 23.5 degrees north latitude is called the Tropic of Cancer. So here, this is the I'm sorry, we are moving into page number 6. You can see here all the vertical lines are shown, and the map is here, and also here some important latitudes are shown. The latitudes go from east to latitude means what? East to west. Now, here central is equator, that is 0 degree latitude. So 0 degree latitude is the equator. Now, 23.5 degrees, look at the page number 6, observe. 23.5 degrees north latitude is called the Tropic of Cancer. 23.5 degrees south latitude is called the Tropic of Capricorn. This is the Tropic of Capricorn, and when the top one is on the upper side, it is called the Tropic of Cancer. This is 23.5 degrees. You can hear Tropic of Cancer. This is the Tropic of Capricorn. 66.5 degrees north latitude is called the Arctic Circle, and 66.5 degrees south latitude is called the Antarctic Circle. This is Antarctic, this is Arctic Circle. 90 degrees north is the North Pole, 90, and 90 degrees south is called the South Pole. That's what it is. Longitude, the semicircle that run from the North Pole to the South Pole by intersecting the latitudes is called the longitudes or meridian. There are about 360. Longitude, what are those longitudes? I told you about that. Now when you move to prime meridian, or I can read one more time. Longitude, the semicircle that runs from the North Pole to the South Pole by intersecting the latitudes are called longitudes or meridians. They are 360. Prime meridian, the 0 degrees longitude which passes through the Greenwich near London is called the Greenwich longitude or prime meridian. The prime meridian divides the world into two regions as the eastern hemisphere on the right hand side and the western hemisphere on the left hand side. In each sphere there are 180 degree longitudes. Now the grid. We talk about the grid. The network of latitudes, grid is like a square. When you have a line, a horizontal line and a vertical line, is like each one is like a square. So that we call it as grid. Similarly, we use the word power grid. Power grid. So like that, there are grids. And similarly, in mathematics, you have a table where you have to fill in the numbers. You can call it as a grid, or you can call it as a table, or you do some puzzle work and all that. Now, let me move on. Grid. The network of latitudes and longitudes drawn on the globe is called the grid. On the globe, paper mein dikha do. Now, with the help of the grid, we can locate any place on the globe easily. With the help of this grid, we can locate any place on the globe. Now, we are moving into page number 7, a map. Now, we are talking about a map. You see the map here, and there is also another map here. This map is almost, it covers the entire world, but this is only for part of it. Now, map, a flat figure of the world, or a part of it, is called a map. These figures we can have on the paper or cloth. These figures we can have it on paper or cloth. Sometimes when you want, you can put it on paper, but if you paper, after some time it may decay, it may be torn. But sometimes some of these good maps, a little bit expensive, but those maps are backed by cloth. When you have the cloth, then that is okay. Now, the book containing the various figures or maps is called atlas. I told you what is called atlas. Now, similar colors are used in the map and the globe to show the oceans and the land masses. So, maps and globes, they use the similar colors so that there is no confusion. Yeah. Now, types of maps: physical maps, political maps, road maps, maps showing air routes either concerning to the whole world or to any particular place are available in different sizes. There are so many types of maps. I think I told you earlier. You want to know all the rivers in India or the world. That's another one map. Political map, physical map, like that. There are so many different kinds of maps. Now, making of maps. Making maps in a scientific manner is called cartography, and that's what I told you. You cannot make a map the way you want it, but there are certain scientific principles, rules, regulations. If you follow them and draw them, you cannot draw a sea and color yellow. No, you have to color it blue only. So like that, suppose you have a Kutcher road or a railway track, you have to draw a line and you have to draw small lines across, crossing that line. So there are certain procedures, there are some guidelines, you have to follow that. Okay? So making of maps in a scientific manner, that's what it means. Scientific means You cannot do it haphazard. That's called haphazard. You have to go in a scientific manner. That is called cartography. And the map maker is called cartographer. Photography, photographer. Cartography. The cartography is the art of making a map following some scientific procedures. The person who makes the map is called cartographer, just like photography, photographer. Okay. Nowadays, satellites are being used to get the accurate pictures and information about weather conditions, cyclones, storms, etc. Mapping is very much essential and useful for the Air Force and the military. Air Force and military is very important because when they want to fly over a particular place, they have to take the permission. You cannot fly in any country you like. If you don't have the permission to fly over the country, you may be shot. Your plane may be shot. So you have to, when you are traveling, when a plane is traveling from one place to another place, it has to get the approval from different countries. Otherwise you have to do it at a lot higher elevation. Okay? Who knows? They think that you may be an enemy aeroplane. So you have to take the permission. So similarly, Navy, when you have a submarine or a ship moving from one place to another place, you have to take the permission. And there is also certain rules there, because if suppose you have a place here and there is another place here, you want to go from this place to this place, you cannot go in a straight line. Plane cannot go in a straight line. On the road, it has to go through all the places it has to touch. Actually, touch means really you don't land, but you have to follow that road. Because if something happens to the plane, you have already a place to land immediately. So in that process, you have to take the permission. So that means for the sea as well as the air people, the maps are very, very, very important. Of course, people traveling on the road also, it is important. It is much more important because they are a lot higher there. So now I am moving on to page number 8. You can see the India map. You can also see the various colors that are assigned. That is to show different states and all that. You can also see all the directions, north-south directions, east-west, northeast, southwest, southeast, like that. So I told you about all the 4 main directions and also the 4 sub-directions. Here, map reading. We should have the knowledge about the language of the map to understand better. The language of the map. Some maps are made in Telugu, some are in English, some are in Tamil. So you have to know the language. Not only the real language, but also you need to understand all the legend. How the different items are, different places, different items, how they are represented on the map. You need to know that. That's what it means. We should have the knowledge about the language of the map to understand it better. The language of the map comprises of four things. One is the directions. Language means passenger in Telugu, English, Hindi kaakunda. Directions, scale, contours and symbols. Contours means, I think I mentioned about contour. Contour is an imaginary line touching all the places are having the same elevation. They are called contours. That line is an imaginary line. Similarly here, to understand the map, you need to know the directions, scale, colors and symbols. In addition to that, of course, the language also. If you don't know English, if you don't know Tamil, you only know Telugu, then it has to be, the map should be in Telugu. But they are there, no problem. Direction. There are 4 main directions. The north to either the top of the map, the south at the bottom, the east on the right side, and west on the left hand side. Now, sub-directions. So we studied about the directions and sub-directions. Sub-directions, there are 4 more sub-directions. One is northwest, northeast, southwest and southeast. I already told you about that. scale. Each map has a scale. So because the world is so big and you want to put it on a piece of small paper, so there is a scale. 1 centimeter is equal to so many kilometers. Like that, I think we already talked about that. Colors. Different colors are used for different things. Generally, the same system is followed in almost in all standard maps. Blue color means for the oceans, seas and rivers. Dark blue means deep water. Light blue is shallow water. Brown is land for land masses. Dark brown for the hills and mountains. Light brown for highlands or plains. Green for lowlands. Symbols. Explanation which is given about the symbol is at the bottom of the map is called a legend. That's what I told here. Legend at the explanation that is given at the, normally it is given at the bottom of the map. That's called the legend. A list of symbols is called the key. Sorry, ఈ legend ని key అని కూడా అంటున్నాం. KEY key. ఏంటి దారం మనం తలుపు తెరాలంటే కీ ఉండాలి. అలాగే అర్థం చేసుకోవాలంటే ఆ కీని ఫాలో అవ్వాలి. అందు గురించి కీ అని కూడా అంటారు. With the help of the symbol, we can identify things very easily. Now, generally, the map may not be sufficient for wording. Now, రాయాలంటే may not be sufficient. అందు గురించి ఏం చేస్తున్నాం మనం? That is why symbols are used. Every time there is a road, touch a road, patch a road, you cannot write like that. Railway track, there may not be space for writing all that, so that's why we use these symbols. That's what it said. The knowledge of symbol is useful in reading a map. You can see here river, how it is shown. River, the canal, railway line, road, and similarly the international boundaries, internal boundaries, national capital, state capital, and town, how you represent them. Now if you on the map, if you see a square with a dot inside, that means it is the national capital. So what is it? Where do we use that? For India. That is Delhi. In Delhi, that's what you use that. And then state capital. Suppose, of course, for us, Amaravati, that's the state capital, and the town is a dot. Now, different colors are used. Each color. Different colors are used to indicate rainfall, forest, population, crops, lands, etc. Do remember, the globe is a model of the earth. Maps are convenient for conveying and use. Grid helps to locate the place. Directions, symbols, and colors are commonly used in all standard maps. A book which contains only maps is called atlas. So we learned about all this. So I want you to read this lesson number of times, and you can easily know. There is not much of I don't think you will feel difficulty. So to understand the earth, we have two means. One is a globe and a map. Now, in the case of the globe, again, the whole globe is divided into longitude and latitude. Longitudes and latitudes, they are the imaginary lines going from north to south or east to west. And then you have equator, the equator depending on the angle. You have Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, like that, but different angles. And then we also learned about longitudes and also on the grid. Grid is a map where to locate, it's like a square, number of squares, just like the book that LKG student, nursery student write, that's like that. It is also like a grid to locate a place on the map. And nowadays, in addition to these grids, we are using the satellite to know the location of a place. Then we talked about what are the various types of maps, how to make maps, cartography and cartographer, and the book of maps is called Atlas. All that we learned, and also we learned about the directions. Directions already you know the 4 main directions and 4 sub-directions. Total about 8 directions. We learned about it, and then we also learned about various coloring, what kind of colors to use. so that it's easy to understand. When you see a blue, immediately you know that it is a water body. Similarly, for the river, railway line, and like that, capital, city, and all that. So I hope you understood it, and this completes the second lesson in the social studies in the fifth class. You have to read both the lessons. We have given you the exercises. I want you to read the lesson very well and then do the exercises. Maybe next time I will go over the exercise in the study material as well as the booklet that you have. Meanwhile, I want you guys to read the lesson number of times, understand it, send the questions, go through the videos. When I want to say, I'm not seeing many people watching the video. So you have to watch the video and pass on your comments, okay? I hope you liked it. If you like the whole presentation, you can recommend it to somebody. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.